and some of your clients to let them know about Linda's addition to the team?
Well, it's so far it's been positive.
Okay.
You know, so, but I have, just full disclosure here, Doug. Maybe I misunderstood what my marching orders were from our last call till now, but that hasn't been my primary objective.
And again, I'm not saying that it was your marching orders. I'm just wondering if any of that's taken place. And to be honest, I was hoping we could reconnect with what we talked about last time, because it's been almost 2 weeks, and I was on a vacation, and I guarantee you some of those brain cells that I held on to that memory with are no longer around.
You got it.
Yep, they leaked out in that water, didn't they?
They sure did. I guarantee you a couple of the face plants that I made when I was trying to surf behind a boat didn't help either.
Yeah, so I've what I've been doing is just in my normal interactions, I've been purposeful in bringing it up, but I haven't been making outbound calls specifically for that purpose.
Okay, no problem. No problem. So you're letting the people know that you're starting to meet with now, you're letting them know about Linda.
Absolutely.
Great, great.
Yes.
Hey, Doug, I want to let you know, I'm sorry, I'm on the phone, just so you know. It's Kristen. I'm not on my computer yet, but I'm dialed in. I didn't want you guys to think I wasn't here.
Oh, awesome.
Sorry, keep going.
Awesome.
Kristen.
Okay, hey, listen, before we go, thank you for saying something, Kristen, because your name's not showing up yet. But Linda, Tony, I know you know Kristen from many conversations and a couple of the conferences, but Linda, Kristen Jones is a branch manager of ours down in Indianapolis, and she has including herself, a 3-person team that she has really started to she's really started to hit her groove. It's been a little bit of a up and down ride for the last year with a variety of different personality types, trying to figure out who is the best fit on the team and where to put them on the bus, and getting them seated in the right position. And it feels like, just simply based on her energy level and when you talk to her and her production, she's finally hit a groove where I think the right people are on the bus and they're both seated on the right seat. Is that fair, Kristen?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So,
well, hi, Kristen. Nice meeting you.
Hi, nice to meet you too. Hi, Tony. Long time no talk.
What's happening, Kristen? I know.
The reason I wanted you guys all on the call, or the reason why I wanted to bring you two together, is because I think you guys are both mirror images of each other. You both have similar sized teams. Tony is building a business around a mindset that hasn't fully taken hold yet, but he's investing in the future. And Kristen, you were there and are now starting to feel the impact of what you've built. And so I'm hoping that the synergy of this group can feed off of one another. By no means am I trying to make this all about me and what I have to regurgitate. I'm hoping, and I know, Tony, you're very appreciative and very interactive with this, really reaching into each other's ideas and mindsets and what's worked and whatever the pitfalls are. I'm hoping that as we move through this class, that my little interjections and the things that you guys are experiencing on the ground out there can come together to make this process better for both of you.
Perfect.
Right on. And Doug, the way I see it, it's always all about you.
Yeah, I've got more people telling me that today. I have such a hard time believing that. Wow, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Okay. Good afternoon. So let's just kind of quickly jump into this a little bit. The reason that I wanted Kristen, and I know is Kathy still out?
She's out. Yeah, she's back in kind of half today. She's been out all week sick, and she's on vacation next week, so the timing could not be worse.
No,
so
it's
I'm
okay,
trying to have her do as much as she can this afternoon. So,
yep.
But Doug, if you're going to record this, I'd love for her to hear it when she gets back. That'd be awesome.
I am recording it.
Do that.
Yep.
Okay,
I am
perfect.
recording it.
We'll fill her in then. So sorry she
Awesome.
couldn't make it today.
No worries. So Tony, if you don't mind, you want to bring up what we talked about last week real quick so that Kristen can get up to speed as well?
Sure. Yeah, the gist of it was that we've got to make a concerted effort to go from being a transactional-based business to a relational business, and really it really starts by reaching out to past clients and setting the stage. Setting the stage, basically, what I took away from it, Doug, was really kind of falling on your sword and saying, look, I've done just a really bad job of staying in contact with you, and I wanted to reach out and just let you know how much I appreciate it.
Right.
And then,
Tony,
in that conversation,
yep,
introducing Linda.
Yep. I think what we have to identify here is, as you guys kind of distance yourself from being the loan officer in your businesses, and that's really what you're doing. You guys have hired people on your team to essentially take over the loan officer responsibilities of your business. And let me explain to you what I deem loan officer versus originator. A loan officer to me is somebody that takes the application from creation until closing and the client gets the keys and moves on. The originator is the one that creates the opportunity in the very beginning and maintains the relationship after the closing. Is that a pretty fair assessment? Can you guys all agree with that with me?
I think so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So we all do loan officer activities every single day. The moment in which you can not only afford it or your volume demands it, we have to learn how to separate ourselves from being an originator and a loan officer. Many of us, me included, were horrible at one or the other. I was horrible at being a loan officer. I arguably consider myself probably the worst loan officer that's ever walked the planet. Not because I didn't know the programs or the products, but when it came to creating a loan application, dotting T's, dotting I's, crossing T's, and following through on the details, I was miserable. I created more problems in my business than I could ever hope to solve. Where I was exceptionally good was in the origination side of the business. So I always had a team that handled the loan officer duties, so that my job was come in, build the relationship, establish the rapport, establish the trust, and then hand it off to my team. The difficulty is that as a loan officer, as an originator and a loan officer, when you wear both hats, we more often than not spend our time in the loan officer role, and we hate it. We by nature, Tony and Kristen, are not thrilled at being a loan officer. People like Kristen Jameson and Jamie Benner and Todd Barr and some of the others, they thrive on that compliance, all reg, detail, box engineer type thinking, which I was never very good at. And then they also are very good at being an originator. They know how to separate the two, and they know how to put on those hats at the right time. What we run into more often than not is we spend most of our time in the originator category, and we hate it. And because we hate it, we never put on that originator hat fully. Tony, that's why last time we talked, you had to make a concerted effort to really dive into that relational mindset, because when you're acting as a loan officer, you're not acting like an originator. You're acting like a task-oriented doer type person, and you just deal with the paperwork and the process that's in front of you. Can everybody see that?
No doubt.
Okay.
Yeah.
No question.
The challenge with that is by the time we know that we need to be an originator, weeks and months have gone by, and that's why we've seen pit holes in our closing volume. That's why we see our volume ebb and flow. That's why we're always in this rat race, and why we feel so disjointed and so disgruntled with our businesses. So because you guys are fortunate enough to have reached the plateau where you can start building a team, your goal then is to start dedicating more of the loan officer responsibilities to your team, so that you guys can focus more on the origination activities. And again, the origination activities are not the same as the loan officer activities. So Linda,
it's not asking them for tax returns, Tony.
Yep, it's not asking. Linda, you have every right to call Tony out after that comment he made. Throw him under the bus and back it up on him.
He did that to me today.
Those tax returns just showed up in my inbox. I didn't even talk to the guy.
Amazing, isn't
It was
it?
amazing.
Oh,
never.
And he's like, well, I've given them to Tony. Yeah.
So here's So the message is this: your loan officers, in this case, I think it's Kathy and it's Linda, have to believe without any doubt that they will always have loans to work on because they know that you are always being the originator. That your primary focus, not always I should say, your primary focus is being that originator. If you guys can come with that agreement to one another and say, I agree that my primary focus and responsibility is to create the opportunities and as many of them as we can handle, you have to make the commitment to me that your number one priority is to ensure that that process of going from application to closing goes as efficiently and as smoothly as humanly possible while managing people's expectations. I think what happens in a lot of times what happens is we hire people on our team and we do what's called seagull management. We basically fly over them and we shit on them and we expect them to do the things that are necessary, and when they don't go right, we automatically jump into the role that they're holding and try to fix it and solve it, which takes us back to the problem that we had in the first place. It's just magnified because there's another person there. Yep. The truth in what I'm saying is really this. What I want to focus on with you guys is really not so much how you two, Tony and Kristen, go out there and originate loans, but rather how I can take your team, Kathy and Linda, and make them into basically another torch bearer of what your initial conversation and your initial philosophy is, so that as Linda and Kathy take their clients, your clients, through the process, they're leveraging the relationship to the point where they're creating yet another pillar in your business that provides you guys with income. So what I like to focus a lot on with you guys in the coming weeks is creating referable moments through the current client referral program that I've created, and also talking about your past client referral program. Kristen, I shared a little bit of this with you in that email. Kristen, you're an amazingly talented originator when it comes to realtor relationships. I would have killed to have your skill as an originator around realtor relationships. I just never was good at it. I couldn't. I think inherently I had a mental block around realtors because I think they're all just putzes. And unfortunately, that stymied my ability to build relationships with them. And because of that, my past client business was always the main pillar of my, the main pillar that supported my financial growth. But any time that you're limited to just one main pillar, you're really putting all of your eggs in one basket. So I'm not asking you to change what you're doing there. I'm just asking you to be open-minded and to allow me to help you augment so that you have another couple funnels that feed business into your business, so that it doesn't make you feel so heavy on one end, and it also gives Kathy and Linda a greater purpose. It teaches them how to do things a little bit more relationally based, because that's what you want your business to look like. And at the end of the day, it's free. So if you can give me one reason why we shouldn't try it, I would love to hear it.
No, I 100% agree. Well, and then if you get, referrals from other sources, I can take those back to my agents, which is going to deepen those relationships anyway. So it's a win-win all the way around.
Oh, Kristen, you couldn't have said it any better. One of the best components of building relationships with people to get referrals out of it is, A, you're doing the work already. You guys are already doing great work with your clients. You're just missing one component of it, and that's the request. The other part of it is that when you show up to the table and you're able to give back to your agents, you become so much more than a commodity and you're only as good as your last transaction kind of relationship. You become somebody of value to those agents who they now become loyal. They become more understanding and empathetic. And I think a lot of the reasons why our realtor relationships fall on hard times is because most agents don't know how to manage human relationships. They don't know how to manage their clients. They don't know how to create expectations. They don't set the stage properly. And so what ends up happening is because we are the ones holding the purse through the end, we're the ones that get whipped until the end like a pack mule when we're not moving fast enough. And the problem is that we're the ones carrying the money, we're the ones delivering the money, we're the ones that are navigating a majority of the roadblocks and the challenges. And if we do it right and nobody has a problem, we get an attaboy. And if they go wrong, everybody goes up in our grill and becomes, they really become argumentative. My whole philosophy is we're going to change that whole line of thinking. And the more that we can create our own revenue stream, we're able to then become more of a value to our agents beyond just servicing the loans that they give us. 2013 was the last year I originated, and I've still originated. I've probably originated probably 12 loans this year, and I haven't called my database. I haven't proactively done anything. And there's actually a person, Alan Garbasic, who services my database. I still have gotten 12 loans this year that I've given to Denise that came from my past clients because they've reached out to me regardless of who's marketing to them.
Nice.
That's a powerful testament to my business. But in 2013, 64% of my business came from my past clients. Of that, I think I did just a hair under 15 million. Out of that 15 million, 25 of those 25 purchase transactions were given to my 5 realtors. And out of those 25, that doesn't even account for the listings on any of the homes that were, people called me up, said that they needed to buy a home and they needed to sell. And some of them were actually two divorcees that had 2 separate homes and bought one. So in some cases, there were 3 transactions. So 25 initial purchase transactions for realtors, but that probably goes up another 7 or 8 with the listings that were there. The reality is that this. Now that you have a team in place, if you're not, or if we're not cognizant of how we've done business and how we do business moving forward, you're going to have to continually spend time trying to feed the machine, and your machine just keeps getting bigger every time you add another person to the team. And if you focus only on one pillar, you're going to spend a lot of time relying on that one pillar to feed your family. I want you guys to realize that there are easier and better and more economically efficient ways of doing things, and it's all based on how you communicate. And if you guys can buy into that philosophy with me, and you guys can ride this with me for the next 90 to 180 days, I'm not promising you a tidal wave of business. What I'm promising you is new business that doesn't cost you anything, that comes with very or little no effort, and it just requires you guys to be open-minded and to allow what I'm telling you to sink in and be a part of your business.
I'm in.
Yeah.
You're in? Okay, awesome.
I'm in too.
Linda, how does that sound?
I'm in. I'm in. I don't want to originate. I don't want to mess with realtors. I mean, I can give good phone. When I have to deal with them, I can give great phone.
I can give good phone.
I do not want to go meet them and beg them for business.
Okay, see, there's different personalities for different roles, and I can guarantee you that Tony and Kristen don't have a problem with that one bit. What they hate doing is the minutia and the details and all the other crap that goes along with closing a loan.
Yes.
So I want you guys in your head to look at your office and take a towel line and draw it, or a piece of tape, and draw a line in the floor and go, I'm staying on my side of the camp, you have to stay on yours. Do not overstep your bounds. Do not come onto my side. Don't start doing my job, and I won't start doing yours. And it really is it's an agreement that I think all of you guys gladly will accept. It just becomes a matter of when things get busy, where all hands have to be on deck. That's a different story. But as a general rule, when you wake up every morning, each of you knows your specific role and responsibility. The passenger does not try to steer the car. The driver does not try to fall asleep. It's just an understanding that in order for this to work, you both have your specific roles as a primary function, and you got to stick with them. And by doing that, you both have to be held accountable to what your goals and expectations are that your team creates. Okay?
Yep. Okay. You got it.
Awesome. Awesome. So do you guys have do each of you guys have a piece of paper in front of you by any chance?
Of course. I've been making little notes.
Awesome. I want you to write the letter C. Now under that, I want you to write the letter A. And under that, I want you to write the letter R. And under that, I want you to write the letter E. What does that spell?
Care.
Okay.
Car.
Everybody got that so far?
Yes.
Next to the letter C, I want you to write create.
Okay.
Next to the letter A, I want you to write nothing, just A. Next to the letter R, I want you to write referable. And what do you think the last letter is?
Experience.
Professional.
Linda?
Experience.
Yes. I want you guys to ask yourself this question every single moment that you're interacting with your team and your clients. Do you care? People tell me all the time that they care about their clients. People tell me all the time that they care about their job. People tell me all the time that they care, period. That's a very common denominator when people say, why should I use you? Because I care. Do you care? The definition of caring to me is, do I create a referable experience every time I open my mouth? Every time I type an email? Every time I interact? Do I create a situation that implores my clients, realtors, affiliated relationships, to say wow and thank you or give me some kind of an accolade? Not sometimes, not by accident, but because it's created as a process, or it's ingrained in me. It's my sole reason for doing this. So, you know, I talk about sometimes how we have a purpose and a reason, or a reason and a purpose depending on your definition. Mine is always, the reason is to pick up the phone and give somebody an update, to give them data, to give them information, disseminate things, to manage fears, to whatever it is. That's the reason I'm calling them. But the purpose I'm calling them is because I'm striving to get a thank you from them, or some kind of an acknowledgement of an attaboy, so that I can respond with, thanks for noticing. I appreciate you taking the time to recognize how hard we're working at making this process go for you. And I know that Tony and or Kristen have told you that our business requires our clients to advocate what we do to the people they care about. Please don't keep this a secret. We love doing this for you. There's a difference in how you communicate when you're acting as a task-oriented, as a just plowing through it, I've got 100 things on my plate type day. And sometimes it's just not physically possible to make those connections with people. And it doesn't need to happen with every client, because there are some clients you don't want to connect with. But at the same time, that should be a conscious choice, and you should be able to answer why you don't want to make that commitment to them. I mean, I've had clients that I would have loved to have fired, but for whatever reason, either they came from a great referral source, or because it was a really big loan amount, or whatever the case is, I had to bite my tongue. I had to just ride it out, but I didn't connect with them, and I didn't really want to connect with them. There are certain nationalities, there are certain personalities, there are certain just whatever. But it should be a conscious effort, and I could always tell you firsthand why I chose not to ask them for business.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think either one of you two originators has that in your businesses yet. And here's where it really becomes your responsibility. And it starts with you guys, because you're essentially the leaders. You guys are the ones that have to set the stage. You guys are the ones that have to communicate what your vision of your business is to your clients. Now, Kristen and Tony, I don't know if you guys meet or talk to your clients before they talk to your team. I don't know if you actually have a conversation with them first, or if they go directly to Linda and Kathy. But I would challenge you that, go ahead, Tony.
I was wondering if you were asking if that was.
Yeah, I am. I'm asking. I'm sorry.
Okay. The short answer is it depends.
Okay.
It really depends. If oftentimes I'm the one that's contacted first, just because Linda's new to the team, and the so she hasn't been introduced as the primary point of contact for referral partner, for all of the referral partners that send business our way. But the goal, or at least my thought process is to bring Linda into the process as early in the process as possible. I don't mind having an initial conversation, but I want that conversation ultimately to lead to Linda being the primary point of contact.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
Here's where you have to become. Here's where I don't want you and Kristen to let go of your businesses as the loan officer stuff goes just yet. I need you guys to set the bar of expectations. Your clients hire you for 3 things. I don't care who does them, but essentially they're hiring your team to do 3 things for them. The first thing is to consult, to really develop an understanding of what their goals, wants, and needs are. Fair?
Fair.
Yep.
Second thing is you guys are being hired to negotiate. By negotiate the best rate, best program, the least amount of underwriting conditions, and to really negotiate all the incidentals to help them get the product and the program that's best for them between the bank and the underwriters. That's number 2. The third one is your ability to manage the client's fears and expectations. That is the one that most often we overlook. When you are contacted by a client, that means that somebody, past client, current client, realtor, has endorsed you. Tony and Kristen, they've endorsed you. They've endorsed you as being somebody that person can trust, that you are the owner of the business, that this is your practice, that whatever it is, you are put on a pedestal. Anytime that you are unable to make that connection, you actually break a little bit of trust with not only the referral partner, but it puts the person that who's calling you for help, it puts them on notice that they're not as important.
Hey,
we will have to evolve.
Doug,
and what's that?
Doug, I don't mean to interrupt. Can you repeat that, please? I missed something. I cut out a little bit.
Okay.
Every time we do what? We lose a little bit of trust?
Yep. Every time you don't make the initial connection, if I get a voicemail from a referral and I simply pass that information over to my team member, I break a little bit of trust not only with the referral source, but I also break a little bit of trust with the referral that came to me, because you have been put on a pedestal. That's why they're calling you. I mean, if you think about what it takes to get somebody to actually call you as a referral, there's a lot of trust and a lot of emotion put into that. Agree with me or not, it takes a lot for somebody to pick up the phone and say, so-and-so referred you to me. You know, or somebody said that I should call you. And if your assistant or your loan partner or your loan officer calls them, it puts them on notice that they're not as valuable or you're just too busy.
Sure.
And it also tells the referral source that something's not like it used to be. And that's why I said the last time, Tony, that, you know, one of the things that you need to work on is making sure that Linda is an integral part of your team. In the beginning, this is how the transition or the handoff goes. And so eventually we get to the point where your referral sources end up calling Linda or Kathy. Pretty soon, Linda or Kathy become basically the pilot of the plane. And that's okay. But the person who never gets recognized for allowing your plane to land on time is the air traffic controllers, which is essentially what you guys are. Tony and Kristen, you guys become the air traffic controllers, kind of overseeing all these different flights that are in the air, and you've got one person who's really essentially trying to fly all these planes in. What we have to get to is we have to get to the place where you guys have handed your team off in such a fashion that your referral sources know what you've done and why you did it. And any time that your client or a past client or somebody calls you that's a potential client, you must answer that call, if for no other reason, just to introduce, you know, just to say thanks for the phone call and introduce how the process is now different. I'm having to do that consistently with every client that calls me with Denise. You know, the conversation is, you know, hey, thanks for calling. I got one this week, Dan Godfrey. It's been 4 years. We missed talking to you. You're a great LO. You helped us buy and sell several homes. We're ready to get, you know, we're ready to get pre-approved to buy a house again. Hey, Dan, that's awesome. Thanks for calling me. I'm so blessed. I really appreciate you thinking about me. My team has shifted a little bit. I've taken more of an ownership role at the company, but my fiance, who's been in the business longer than I has taken over my practice. I'd love for you to meet her, blah, blah, and then she turns it into the business, the conversation of what it means to be a part of the Cattery Mortgage Group again, and reiterates all the things that I've kind of explained to her.
Mm-hmm.
But I need you guys to understand how valuable that is right now, because whenever you shift the focus from you to another team member and it's not communicated and in such a way, you start to lose a little bit of respect from the people around you. I learned that the hard way. When Alan joined my team and I turned my practice over to him, I had several people call me up that were really upset because he's not me. He's not the person that I am, and not that he would do less of a great job. It's just they were used to me. And don't take that for granted, because you guys have built some amazingly powerful relationships with people. That's why you're still being referred. And if you don't honor that by maintaining that respect with them, by telling them what's going on, you lose a little bit of momentum. In doing that, it also gives you a chance to reiterate the value of your team and what it means to be adding team members. I believe that any time that you add a team member, it isn't about you. It isn't about you making more money. It isn't about you making, creating more freedom. Though those are the byproduct, it really is more about how you guys can deliver a higher level of service and manage your clients' fears and expectations better. I always like going back to those three components, because anytime I brought somebody onto my team, it helps me spend more time being the consultant that I know that I'm the best at, and it allows the person that's really good at managing fears and expectations to do their job, because I can't do all three at a very high level. And I know you guys feel the same way, because it's the stresses that I've heard you guys all mention to me.
Yeah.
So what I want to get to with you guys is, now that you guys have these loan partners or loan officers on your team, I want to get them saying the same things that you guys do, or essentially echoing the same process that you guys have, which is your business is created by relationships. I don't think either one of you guys has a tremendous marketing budget. Is that fair? I mean, are either one of you spending a ton of money on marketing?
No, not at all.
No.
Right? None at all. So it's fair to say that all of your business is built based on people referring you, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Tony, did you and I talk about the giver, the taker, and the matcher? I know we did, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did.
Kristen, Kristen hasn't heard me say this. So, hey, Tony, you want to tell Kristen what that's all about? See if you remember it.
I was just saying I would benefit from hearing it again. Because
all right. So
what I took away from it was that I'm a giver, and
yep.
not and that is the worst, basically the worst position to be in.
Right. Okay. So Kristen, there's three types of people in this business. There's the giver types, the taker types, and the matcher. And the matcher is the person that kind of plays both sides of the coin when it's appropriate. Of the three, Tony kind of let the cat out of the bag. The giver is the least, is the most unsuccessful of the three. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, I mean, generally, yeah, you'd say the giver, oh, they're going to, receive because they're giving. But I'm sure there's a caveat to it.
There is. Most of the time, everybody thinks it's the taker. And the truth is that it is the giver. Because the giver gives themselves unconditionally, but very rarely ever gets anything in return, because they're always giving. They give, and pretty soon they're empty. Metaphorically, their emotional bank account is completely depleted. Their willingness to want to give is then questioned, and they become more like a Charlie Brown. They just kind of haphazardly go through the day bumping into things, and they're just, they're kind of defeated about it. And they long for that moment when something comes back to them. And most of the time, it's by accident. The takers and the matchers see success, but they don't see success on a consistent and significant basis. But out of those three, there's also one that is the most successful, with one caveat, and that's the giver. The giver that has a request. We, in our personal lives, know how it feels to give ourselves to our significant others and to our family, and we know how disappointed we get when our needs are not met, and how much more disappointing it is when our needs aren't met after we've requested certain things. You know, I was told a long time ago that, you know, if you want something, you have to ask for it. You can't blame somebody for not knowing what your needs are if you don't voice them. And that took a little bit of a mind shift for me, because a lot of the times I felt like if somebody cared about me, they would know what I want. They would be paying enough attention. Well, that's true, but when you start really dealing with business transactions, you've got to be more, you've got to kind of be more of an orchestrator and be able to feel comfortable not only creating those moments but asking. So I go into this mode of, well, if you're an originator, there are times more often than not that you're going to play the loan officer role, as you guys have been experiencing for the last year. The problem is that as you fall into that loan officer role, you get frustrated because you hate doing it. Well, I say if you're going to be doing the loan officer role, then you might as well make it the most effective and most valuable time in your day, because if you're going to be spending time as a loan officer, then you should have a reason for doing things, and your decisions for doing things should be based on the purpose of why you're doing it. That means, so if I'm going to pick up the phone and I go, my processor says, hey, we still haven't gotten the VOE from the employer yet because they haven't responded, you as a loan officer can go, well, if I just can pick up the phone, I can call the employer, have a conversation, I can probably get it in 20 minutes. But that act of doing that may take you an hour. So a lot of us go, if I'm being an originator, I don't have a time to do that. I've got to focus on originating. Well, I disagree. If you took that call and said, if I'm going to do this, which is my reason to do it, because I want the process to move forward, I better have a purpose. And that is, if I have a purpose, I'm going to make the call, but I'm going to make this call known to both agents and to my client so that I can create a referable opportunity and leverage them at that moment. So I'll pick up the phone, call my client, and make the story, listen, your employer hasn't done this. I'm going to make it out to where I'm going to come in and swoop in and save the day. Then I'm going to call the realtors up and I'm going to tell them we have this problem happening right now, but because my business is 100% referred to me and my clients mean the world to me, I'm going to pick up the phone and call the employer myself, and I should have this resolved in the next hour. I'll let you know. You make the call to the person that you're, at the company, you get the VOE back, you call the client up, the client insuredly is going to say what to you?
Thank you. You rock.
Good. And what do you think the realtors are going to say to you?
Good job,
Thanks.
thanks.
And what are you going to say in response? And what are you going to
say? It's about time.
Yeah, or it's going to say they're about time. And those are the ones you hang the phone up on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Those are the ones you don't want to do business with. But what are you going to say at that time? More often than not, it's no problem, my pleasure, I'm glad I could help. The point is that that's where we end our business. That's where our business dies, right there on the vine. We give of ourselves unconditionally. Kristen and Tony both, I know you guys and what you're capable of doing. I know to the ends of the earth that you'll travel to get your loans closed for your clients. I know the hours in which you will deal with problems. I know how much family time you've sacrificed to take care of your clients. But you guys are givers. And the only piece that you're missing is you're not making the request. And what I want you guys to realize is that if you're going to build a business like you have, you better start asking for the help, and you better start asking for it emphatically and consistently. And when you set the stage with your realtor relationships and your affiliated relationships, you need to set the stage accordingly, because Kathy and Linda are going to create a great mechanism to get those clients going back to the referral sources saying thank you, because every time a client says thank you to them for doing a great job, their response is going to be, thank you for noticing. Please do me a favor and tell your realtor or tell your financial advisor or tell your aide how much we are doing for you, because it means the world to us. And if you don't mind, I know that Tony told you this in the beginning, or I told you this in the beginning, we are looking forward to working with somebody else in your life that you care about. Thanks. That makes putting up with the bullshit worth it, doesn't it?
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
Now you make decisions on how you interact with your clients based on what the result is. Every time I picked up the phone and got involved in a client, Tony, you and I have spoken about this, and Kristen, I think you have, and I too. I told you guys the 5 points in which I communicated with the client. The initial phone call, the application, the appraisal, the approval, and the clear to close. Have I ever told you guys that? That's how I connected with my clients after I turned them over to my team?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I remember you saying that you had 5 points of contact, but I don't think we talked about what the
Right.
milestones were that triggered the
Right.
calls.
Well, we'll get into that in maybe another call, but the 5 points of contact were really done because that's where I felt like I was the strongest and had the best opportunity to orchestrate a referable moment. And what I want you guys to realize is that either you're having to make that happen, meaning you guys are taking the reins and handling that, or you're going to have to teach your team on how to create those moments and what to say and how to say it and practice that dialogue. Because without it, you guys are going to be consistently fighting an uphill battle, constantly trying to feed the machine, and you have business staring at you in the face if you would simply ask for it. And the statistics, and these are not guesses, these are hardcore facts and figures, and not only just me, but I can introduce you to a bunch of loan officers that have been doing it as well. Every request that you make, 1 out of every 3 requests turns into a referral. Out of every one of those referrals, 1 out of 3 of those referrals turn into a loan. Another one turns into pre-approval, and so on. It's a rule of 30. And I just want you guys to understand that if you're neglecting that part of your business, you're missing out on being able to teach your team how to become more valuable to your clients, more relational to your database, and have a hell of a whole lot more fun in doing it. Because the bullshit is not worth it if the end game isn't to get them to endorse us to the people they care about, because there's not a better feeling in the world to get a referral from somebody, is there?
Yep. Feels good.
It fills your emotional bank account, right? I mean, you could be having the shit and you get 2 referrals in a day and you're on cloud freaking 9 because you feel like I am doing things right. At least there's 2 people in the world that love me. And that's what I want to get you guys to, and that's why I stressed, Kristen, in that email to you was, I want you to build your business not only with the strength of your realtors and Tony with your home IQ. I want you guys to build your business with these other 2 to 3 pillars that you guys are dealing with anyway. You're taking it. It's like you're running a race and you're 5 feet from the finish line and you stop and walk off the track. I mean, that's how close, that's how much effort you're putting into this just to not cross the finish line. And it's not reinventing yourself, it's just adding one more piece. It's doing one small tweak, and that is, I can't stress this enough, you have to be cognizant of what it is that you do every time you email and pick up the phone and interact with a client and a realtor partner. It's gotta be because you care. Good.
Okay, so it's really, I mean, it begins with a mindset, right? And being purposeful with every interaction, every client facing interaction, every realtor facing interaction, being very well. I don't know how else to describe it. Just being very purposeful with the end goal being to create the best possible or paint the best possible picture that would make someone feel comfortable and even want to endorse you or refer you.
I'm gonna strengthen that statement.
Okay.
You're not going to hope that they're going to refer you. You're going to make that part of your agreement when they decide to do business with your team.
Yeah, okay,
It was never an accident. It was always, I'm interviewing you as much as you're interviewing me for the position. Mm-hmm. You're deciding whether or not I'm going to be the right loan officer to help you achieve your goals, and I, Mr. Client, am interviewing you to decide if you're the right client for me, because my business is it's designed around relationships, and if I can't meet your expectations, I obviously don't want to take you through this process. Or if I feel like you're not a good fit for my team, I can't afford to spend my time working with you if I can't believe that you're going to advocate me to the people in life that you care about.
Right. Okay.
If I told you that there was a chest of $10 million buried at the bottom of a well, but you would have to swim through a mile of SHIT to get to it, how many seconds would it take you to deliberate whether or not you'd be willing to swim through that?
Not very many.
It wouldn't take me. It wouldn't. I would be stripping down before the words got out of their mouth. Now I get the visual. Don't take it there. But the reality is that's what that's what the drive should be. Every time you open your mouth, every time you're talking to people, if you're going to be doing the shit work anyway, guys, then you might as well make it worthwhile. If you're going to have to jump through the pile anyway, you better see the fact that there's a $10 million briefcase waiting for you at the end of it. But when you start slinging through it every single day and you don't see the value in it because nobody's giving you what you want, most of the time it's because you're not asking. I'm proving it. You guys are in this position because you guys are not asking for it. At least not at the level that you should be, because your businesses are both in different places. Kristen, your volume's up, but it's all realtor based. And I can guarantee you, out of the clients that you've talked to over the last 2 months, I could pick up the phone and call 10 of them, and not one of them would know that you could use their help if they advocated you to the people they care about. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I want you to say this to yourselves. Shame on me. I don't care. Seriously. You don't care. That's what I mean. You really aren't creating a referable experience, because part of the referable experience is that the other party knows that it's a referable experience.
There's
Is this helping? Is this helping? I mean,
yes. Yeah, it's helping.
Yeah.
Doug, there's a term that I'm familiar with that this is what it sounds like to me. And the term is an upfront contract. You're basically creating an upfront contract with someone before you enter into a working relationship.
It's called an agreement.
Yeah.
It's Tony and Kristen. Okay. I want to take you guys to go see a concert. It's a rock concert, and you guys are like, yeah, let's go. And we go in, and it's a musical on Annie. Now, Annie's a classic. We love it, but I still feel like I'm a little bit cheated because I thought I was coming to see a rock concert. You have to have an agreement at the beginning of your relationships before you start talking about mortgages, before you start talking about loans and rates and programs, for a couple different reasons. One, an agreement lets the client know that you're not just in a job, that you are in a want-based position, not a need-based position. We've all entered into situations with somebody who's in a need-based situation. I can smell it a mile away, and I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable in it, and I remove myself from it as quickly as possible. However, I've been in a want-based situation, and I feel comfortable. I feel engaged. I feel safe. I feel vulnerable. I feel open. And that's where I feel I make the best choices.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That makes sense? So the agreement that you make in the very beginning, it's imperative, because if you don't make that agreement in the very beginning, which that will be our next class, is working on the conversations on what you say and when to say it and how you say it. Today, that's not what it's about. Today, it's just understanding the concept behind it. But when you enter into a relationship and you don't have that agreement in the beginning, you end up feeling, your clients will feel cheated. They will feel somewhat misled because they agreed to work with you because you were a loan officer and you said you would close a loan for them and you would do it under these terms and under this time frame. But you didn't ask me to agree to anything else. So why in God's green earth would I agree to do anything else? I mean, I know you're doing a good job, but I expect you to do a good job because that's what we agreed to.
Yep.
So then how do we work? Yeah. So how do we work on those dialogues, though? Because it's not
next
something
week.
You can just whim. Okay, good.
Nope. This is where the recording of the classes are going to become so valuable. I don't want you guys writing notes during these classes. I want you guys to listen, and we'll talk through these things, and then you're going to replay the conversations, and then you guys are going to role play with your teams. Here's why it requires us to practice these. What you guys hear me say has become so natural for me that our class today It wasn't premeditated. This is just something that comes out of me as I'm engaging with you guys. This isn't a premeditated class. I do 6 or 7 of these a week, and they're all different. But they're all different based on the audience that I'm speaking to. But it's gotten to the point where I've had this conversation so many times with clients that I can alter the speak so easily and so naturally that you would never know that it was something that I hadn't premeditated. The concept's there, but the way in which I say it can be altered at a moment's notice, because every time I entered into a dialogue with a client, I had to tailor make it to who they were. And so the scripts are really just about understanding the concept and realizing that your clients don't know what you're supposed to say. They just hear what you're saying at the time. So if it comes out where it says, listen, you know what, I'm going to do all these things for you, but here's an agreement I need you guys to enter into. I need you guys to understand that if we do a good job, that you promise that you'll advocate us to the people you care about. It could be that. It could be 100 different other ways, but we'll work on that over the coming weeks. But today it's just understanding that moving forward, we have to learn how to become givers with a request. It starts with Tony and Kristen, and then Linda and Kathy are going to have to pick up on that, because as they deal with the realtors and the clients through the process, they're going to have the most interaction with those people. And Tony and Kristen, you guys are going to have to decide how much involvement you want to have and how much you want to control those pillars of business.
Okay.
Tony, you're 100% right. It's an agreement. And I went into every client relationship believing that it was a want-based decision, and I wanted to work with them, but only if they understood what it is that I needed from them in return. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
absolutely. I'm perfectly comfortable making making it a condition of doing business together.
Yep.
To just making it's a condition. If we're going to work together, then it's just expected that you're going to introduce me to the people that you care about.
Right. It isn't that you're going to demand it. It's that we're going to do such a great job that you're going to be compelled to want to advocate me. You're going to be compelled because I care. And it almost works in perfectly. You could literally make that your business card. You could have an entire dialogue with your client going, how many times have you entered into a conversation with a salesperson who said that they cared about you? And then have you ever asked yourself, what does the definition of care mean to them? And they would give you, well, I might care. I mean, you mean something to me. I'll answer your questions, whatnot, and go, here's my definition. I'm going to create a referable experience because I care so much about your goals, wants, and needs that I would love to work with somebody in your life that you care about. And more importantly, you're going to go back to the person that introduced you to me, and you're going to say thank you to them because I rely on them knowing how great of a job I'm doing for you, because I want them to continue to advocate my business just like I want to get you to that level too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a complement or an augment to what you guys are already doing. This is not changing what you do every single day. It's just changing what you say to the people that you're already doing it with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you see how easy this is?
Yeah.
There's no money being spent. There's no program to learn. It's really just you guys are already great, giving, amazing people. All 3 of you. You guys are already giving unconditionally. I just want to see you get what you're deserving.
You got it.
I see we're doing it up front. It's really going to help me and Kathy.
Without any question. That's where the next conversation is going to go, which is next week. It's working with Kristen and Tony on setting those expectations up in the beginning with your realtor referral partners, with the clients that call you, and then getting Kathy and Linda comfortable having that conversation with the clients that call them.
Yeah, it's just going to make it easier. I don't mind having that conversation either, but I'll find it much easier. I would be more uncomfortable doing it up front than Tony and Kristen are.
That's why you're in this position. That's why you're not wanting to be an originator, and that's why Tony and
That's
Kristen have
right.
to take this. That's why they have to take this very seriously, because if they have any hope of building these pillars, they've got to be the ones that set the tone and really make it the culture of their business.
Right, and when it gets to me like that, I'm perfectly wonderful with running with it, you know?
Like you said, you give
I
good
am.
phone.
You
I
are
do. I give good phone, man.
Love
Just
it.
ask anybody.
All right, guys. That's all I got for today. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add?
Oh, sounds good. So we're going to do this every Friday at 2. Is that the plan?
I would love it if you can make that commitment, at least for the next 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in.
If there's a situation and you guys can't attend, I will record the calls and let you guys listen to them as long as I feel like the participation is there.
You got it.
Okay. Listen, guys, I love doing this because I'm passionate about it. I'm not looking at your production and setting a benchmark for what you guys have to accomplish. I'm looking at it because I thoroughly enjoy having these conversations with you guys, and I really enjoy bringing value at some level to your businesses. Your participation in this is purely voluntary. My time on the calls is, I'm going to be doing it anyway, so it's up to you how much effort you put into it. But after 90 days, we'll make an assessment on whether or not the calls are worthwhile or not, and if we're making progress. And if it's not, then we'll see what we can do to alter it. But if there's something that we're missing, if there's something that I'm not doing, if there's something that you want to see improved on, this is a two-way street. I know, Tony, you think it's always about me, and I appreciate that. And I did most of the talking today. But the interaction back and forth is imperative for me because I need that not only to get better myself, but also to help improve the messages I'm delivering to you guys.
Okay.
Cool.
Hey, Doug, will you have we have 2 minutes after the call to connect offline?
Yeah, no worries.
All right. I'll give you a buzz after the call.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your time off. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Be safe, and we'll talk with you guys next week.
Sounds good. You too.
Thanks.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Yeah.